America celebrates Random Act of Kindness Day on February 17th, and I missed it, but because I just found out about that random fact. But New Zealand celebrates it sometime in September. So two countries on this planet celebrate a Random Act of Kindness Day. And in my life, I'm 51. In my life, I've been the recipient of Random Act of Kindness many times. Um, I started working in downtown Mesa back in on January 29th, 1996, more than 30 years ago. And many times over those years, I would go through the drive-through at Taco Bell, and there was a man named Caesar there. He still works there. He might be the manager or assistant manager now, but he's probably worked there more than 30 years because that was 30 years ago when the first time I ever saw him. So the Taco Bell used to be on Clark and Country Club, but now it's at Country Club Drive in Main Street on the northeast corner. And Caesar, I don't think knows my name, like first or last name, but he calls me my friend. He says hello, my friend, and he is one of the best at customer service and professionalism, and he's a very good example of that to the world. He could probably get a PhD in customer service and professionalism, just at least an honorary PhD from any university on planet Earth, in my humble opinion. So if anyone sees this and you can show Caesar that I give a shout out to him for being such a nice, random act of kindness professional and customer service champion. Another man that had been cutting my hair that whole time. There's a barber shop at I think Miller and Main Street in Mesa on the northeast corner, and so it's basically on the same street, Main Street, down the street. Oh, it's actually on University and or maybe no, it's actually Main Street. I'm sorry, still on Main Street. So Country Club and Main Street is the Taco Bell. Miller and Main Street is Carl's barbershop. So Carl has been cutting my hair and my brother's hair for almost 3 decades, and I found out that he actually went to high school with my oldest sister, and he graduated. He went to junior high and high school with my oldest sister, and they graduated the same year. And so I've known him for 3 decades, and he also, like, one of the things he does around the holidays is he passes out like coupons for Dairy Queen for like a free ice cream cone or dilly bar or something like that. And he doesn't have to do that, but he's a super nice guy. He always has a positive attitude, and I would say he's always professional and always great at customer service as well. He's a champion too, so he should deserve a PhD in customer service and professionalism from any American university. And then there's another guy in Arizona. His name is Michael. I've only known him since about 2014. In 2014, I bought a Mazda CX-5 from the Birds Mazda dealership at Country Club and Baseline on the southeast corner, which is technically in Gilbert. It's on the Mesa-Gilbert border, but this guy is amazing. He would bend over backwards to get me my car serviced. So I think that the service area doesn't even open until 7. And sometimes I would show up at 6:30, and he would immediately start work right away, even though it doesn't even open. Like, the doors shouldn't be open; they should be locked. And how many places on this earth are open 30 minutes religiously for a decade, 30 minutes before, I mean, they open 30 minutes before they're scheduled. And he knew me, like, because I went there every time I need my oil change or tires replaced or whatever. And he would always have them detail my car, like, I mean, not detail, but like wash it, the outside and inside, whatever. I don't know if it's a full detail, but like a basic detail. And always positive, always professional, 1000% customer service. Michael at the Burge Mazda Service Center, unbelievable nice guy. I mean, and all three of these guys know that I'm in Ukraine. And so if any of them see this video, or if anybody that sees this video see these three guys, give them a shout out and tell them they all deserve a PhD in professionalism and customer service from any university in America. Amazing people. There's a guy here. I've only known him about 18 months. He's the guy that cooks my pizzas at the Pizza de Roma Pizzeria here in my town. His name's Andrew, and he is super nice. You should have seen his face the first time I walked in there and started speaking English. And I said, "Does anyone speak English?" Like, because people don't walk in there asking. There's no Americans here. I'm the only American in this small city or town or whatever it is. And he almost took a double take, like when he first saw me. But he has always been super nice. He never really spoke English on a regular basis until I moved here, and he speaks really decent English. So, and he's the only guy that works at that pizzeria. Everyone else is girls, and not one of them speak a word of English. Not one word of English. So shout out to Andrew. He's a professional. He feeds me every week, almost every, well, for at least 4 days a week. He's cooking my pizza, and um, he's an expert at customer service. You know, going the extra mile and everything, and I appreciate him. Um, Another guy, a guy from work, last name Romero. He, over the past several years, before I retired, before he came to work, he would go to some authentic Mexican restaurant, and he knows I love Mexican food. It's my favorite food in the world, and he knew I liked hot sauce, so he would get one of those fresh bag of chips, like a big bag, not a tiny bag, but like a big paper bag of chips, and a couple of the habanero sauces and regular hot sauce, and I loved it, man. I would eat that as soon as he would bring it to me, sometimes once or twice a week, or maybe, I don't know, it seemed like a lot, and he knew I loved it, and it was amazing. I almost craved the salsa and chips like he brought, because I haven't had salsa and chips in 18 months. So, since I moved to this country. There might be a Mexican restaurant in Kiev or two, and there might be one in Chernihiv. But if there is a Mexican restaurant and that serves almost authentic food, it's a minimal 2-hour bus ride away from me, because in this small town. But what's fun? There is a funny thing. I went to a restaurant today because the burger bar, the lady wasn't working there, so I went to a different restaurant that sells cheeseburgers, because I was craving a cheeseburger, and I was hungry because I hadn't eaten since the day before. And this other restaurant sells a kebab, and it's called, the title is Mexikanska. They have Gavaiski, or Gavaiska, which is a Hawaii kebab. Then they have a Mexican kebab, and I've had that Mexican kebab there. I tried it out months ago, and basically they just put corn in there and some spicy sauce. So I don't even know if it's hot sauce, but it's just a tiny bit spicy. It's as close as they can get to Mexican food in my town. It's not close, but I could probably make Mexican food at home that would be more authentic, and I don't know how to cook, so those are some people in my life that have really gone the extra mile to for me to be the beneficiary of random acts of kindness. And so Romero, I would also bring in, like, I knew what kind of energy drinks. We both worked the graveyard shift the last 10 years of my career, and I would I knew which flavors he liked, and there some flavors of high quality energy drinks are hard to find, and I would look for them. And sometimes I'd have to go to 3 or 4 different stores just to find the ones that he liked, and I would. So he would bring me chips sometimes, and I would bring him, and also a lot of times they were cheaper if you bought two. So it'd be maybe $2 each or $3 for two. So it wasn't like it was breaking the bank, and he really appreciated it, and he loved certain flavors, and I knew exactly which one he was. So if I saw that, if I was able to find one of those, I'd bring those in. So it was like a mutual random act of kindness. I remember one time about, I think it's Higley in Maine or somewhere out there in East Maine. There's a ranch market store that sells high quality fruits and vegetables, and um, I bought 2 packages of high quality dates. Um, I can't remember if they had pits or anyway. So I brought them to work, and I didn't think anything about it. But one of my coworkers, his name is Mohammed. He was from Somalia, and I put one of those 2 date box packages in his mailbox. And when he showed up to work, he said, "Did you put those dates in my box?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You know what? In my culture, there's a certain time of year where we eat dates, and this is the time." And he said that he had forgotten to pick up some dates because not every store in the city sells dates, but this ranch market randomly did, and they're really good. And so he was very appreciative. It wasn't a religious thing; it was a cultural thing. It had nothing to do with his actual religion, and he was very grateful for the weird randomness of that. Um, so one thing I've realized, in MMA, before every fight, the referee says, be prepared to defend yourself at all times. And in my mind, I agree with that. In this world, you must be prepared to defend yourself at all times in every country, city in the world. Just because, I mean, it's a dangerous world. But now that I'm retired, I also feel that I should be prepared to perform random acts of kindness. And I'm not in a hurry. I don't have to be to work. I'm not going to go to work. And there's been a really cool opportunities in my small town that I didn't even think of until recently that I was able to do and that I can do. And one of them, the roads are really icy. The streets are really icy. And a lot of the shops have a couple steps up and a couple steps down to get in and out of the store, the small stores, and they don't have handrails. And those steps are super icy and dangerous. And randomly on my street here, there was a elderly lady on the top of this 2 steps, and she was looking down, anticipating how to not fall down and break her hip. And I just took 1 step quicker than normal, and I reached out and just put my arm out, and she grabbed it, and I assisted her down, the 2 steps. Not a huge deal. And she said thank you in Ukrainian, and it was really cool. And I've done that 2 or 3 times where I saw elderly men or women on the top of the steps, and look down, and like I just put my arm out, and they take my arm, and I help them down. Not a big deal. And then I keep moving. I don't say, I say budlaska, which means you're welcome, and move on. And they don't know I'm American if they say thank you and I say welcome. I don't know who they are, and they don't know who I am. But they also don't realize that I'm an American citizen, like undercover in their country and in their town. Another thing is, on this same street here, there's an elderly man. He's probably at least 70, and I had a really random cool opportunity to help him out, and he's always been nice to me. But he was walking down the road, lifting a wheelbarrow full of, I would say, secondhand lumber, like lumber that someone like donated to him that he could repurpose because it wasn't like brand new, fresh, like 2x4s or whatever it was, and he was struggling to lift it and push it on the road. Meanwhile, he was on the north side of the road where there's no sidewalk and there's no shoulder, and there's semis every day, all day, driving on that road. So he could have been ran over so easy by a tractor or a semi that drive on that street all day, every day. And so he doesn't speak English, and I don't speak Ukrainian, but I quickly jogged up to him, and I just, placed my hands on the wheelbarrow, what are they called in English? Handles or whatever. And he let me take over. So, and he kind of, it was heavy for me. I was surprised he was going to lift it. He's got some old man strength. But so I lifted the wheelbarrow, and it was also like the weight was off to where I almost dropped it after 1 or 2 feet, but he steadied it by putting his 2 hands on the top. So we walked together, and I knew where he lived, and I just, it was probably only like 100 feet that I helped him. But and I'm not saying I saved his life, but it was just a random act of kindness that I was randomly able to help him do. And it was, for me, it was a really cool experience. And so in my mind, whenever I'm out and about walking to the supermarket or the pizzeria or anywhere I am in town, I try to mentally prepare myself to be prepared at all times to commit random acts of kindness, even though these people have no clue who I am and no clue that I'm an undercover American. People, I don't think the mayor of this city know that there's an American in the city. I don't think here's an incident. So I carry those challenge coins, and so the police challenge coin has the national symbol of the police, Polizia, on one side, and on the reverse, it has the crest of this town here. So I was on the main street. I forget the name of it, but I was walking east on the south side, and I saw a police car with 2 cops coming westbound on the north side, and they turned left, and I saw them do that, and they kind of were looking at me. Well, right then I used the crosswalk to go north. Well, they did a U-turn and headed eastbound, and then they turned left into the parking lot directly in front of me, and he was rolling down his electric window while I was walking. And so I just stopped because I knew they were going to pull me over, and they did. So they parked, and the guy got out, and he said blah 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 documenti, which means let me see your documents, I'm assuming. And so I said to him, do you speak English? He said no. I handed him my passport and my green card, and I got a police challenge coin from his department that he didn't even know this challenge coin existed, because I'm the only person on earth that has a stockpile of them, and my brother mailed them to me. And I had an army one that on one side it says "Glory to Ukraine" in Ukrainian, and on the flip side it says "Glory to the heroes" in Ukrainian. And so I gave him, while he's verifying my documents and I'm good to go and everything, and just his mood was lighter, and he was, when I gave him those coins, he said thank you in Ukrainian, and just his attitude turned in a good way, like he was much more friendlier after I gave him to him. I wasn't bribing him. It was, and a funny thing I did too is that in case he had a body cam, I didn't notice a body cam on him, but I said, did you pull me over because you wanted to trade challenge coins? That was what I said to him in English, and he had no clue what I said. But if it was on body cam and they went to review it later and translated it, that might have made him laugh. But so I try to keep them on my person in case I get pulled over by the police, and then I can say, did you pull me over because you wanted to trade challenge coins? So he had a partner riding shotgun, so I also gave an extra police coin of their department, and army coin to his partner too. And he quickly let me go. Uh, and so there's at least two police officers in town that know who I am because I gave them challenge coins of their department and the National Army of Ukraine. So maybe they won't forget the American that doesn't speak Ukrainian, and neither one of them spoke English. So, um, but so I did get pulled over by the police here in town on the main street. It's called Shevchenko Vulitsa, which means Shevchenko Street, and I guess Shevchenko is on one of the dollar bills here. And I can't remember which one of them, but he's just a national poet, I guess. I can't remember his first name, Shevchenko. Another thing that's really interesting is that in the supermarkets and in the post office, it seems like there's always a line at the registers, and people seem to be in a hurry. I don't know why. But so I always let them cut, and then I say in English, "You can go ahead. I don't work today. Well, I don't have a job, and I'm not applying for a job." And so the joke is they don't know what I'm saying, but 99% of the time they take me up on my offer, even though they don't know what I said. I motion to and say, "Oh, you can go first. I don't work today." So I try to make it a joke for me to laugh at that I don't work today, and they don't get the inside joke, but I get the inside joke, and I get to say something because I don't really talk a lot in public because no one speaks English and I don't speak Ukrainian yet. I'm not fluent anyway. And another funny thing is, it seems to me like in Ukrainian, the word for grandma is babusia. In Russian, it's babushka, but in Ukrainian, it's babusia. And so the elderly women here are professionals at cutting. And maybe when I was a younger man and not so patient, I would not like it if someone would cut in front of me. But now that I'm retired and I don't have anywhere to be, and there's no electricity at home anyway, I kind of laugh it inside my own brain when an old lady cuts in front of me, and they are professionals at cutting. They just quietly step in front of you like 1 foot and then two, and then shuffle and 2 step. They're in front of you, and I was going to let them cut anyway, but it seems like the grandmas in Ukraine are professional line cutters, and I'm not offended at all. I chuckle. I almost beg them to cut in front of me just because I think it's funny almost. And they do. They will do it. They will not cut. They just love to cut in line. And it's funny if you had a candid camera on the situation, it would happen 999 times out of 1,000 where an old lady is going to cut in front of anybody and pretend like they ghost the person they're cutting in front of. It's funny to watch. It's a phenomenon. If you didn't know it was going to happen, it happened to you, you might do a double like, did this old lady just cut in front of me? And yeah, she did. And she's not going to say sorry. She's just going to pretend you didn't exist, or that you were kind enough to let her in front because it's the right thing to do to let an old lady cut in front of you. Wow, it is really cold, and it's been snowing all day today. I feel like it is a little bit colder. And you know what? There was 2 guys fishing probably for the last hour, and they just packed up and they're leaving. They're bouncing.